of it?
Oh, yeah, go on. I remember that discussion, yeah.
Yeah. So you said that would be sahaja. Could you just expand just a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, in other words, I think we highlighted the fact that this was in regards to the nectar of instruction.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Nectar
Yeah.
instruction. And it was, there's a verse there that describes that one should meditate on the Lord's pastimes at the stage of perfection and at the stage of sadhana. So that's a raganuga sadhana bhakti. So if one is thinking of the Lord and is meditating upon pastimes, one is doing that as a non-participator,
Right.
but as an observer. You shouldn't think yourself a particular gopi or particular gopa or taking part in the pastimes, because that is something which is given to you. You don't imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what my Maharaj mentions, that's akin to sahajas who imagine themselves to be in a specific relationship with Krishna. So that verse is, as I say, it's an interesting verse because it gives a quite a high level of practice of raganuga sadhana. But so that's basically what that means. One shouldn't imagine.
Okay, so, but the sahajas, they enacted, don't they? Like we see in Vrindavan, dressed up like gopis and gopas and things. Isn't there a difference between when we have to meditate on something when we're doing a japa, and we can, I mean, if one gets to that level that you see that pastime, not necessarily being part of it. So there's the difference between sahajas and us meditating on any pastime.
Yeah, like yeah, we are not sahajas because we are supposed to meditate upon Krishna's pastimes. That's the goal of Krishna consciousness. But we don't imagine ourselves to be a particular associate or have a particular spiritual form of Krishna. That is something which is not an imagination. It's a gift that comes from our ardent practice. So there's no need to imagine. And and sahajas, they mistakenly think that because Krishna likes gopis, that if they dress themselves up as gopis, even though they're old men, then Krishna's going to be attracted to them.
Yeah, so they display that artificial enacting with Krishna.
Yeah, that we may do it. There's different types of sahajas, but some of them, they get Siddha Pranali, where when they take initiation, they get told who they are, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
In relationship to Krishna, and then they have to meditate like that, which in this day and age is completely bogus.
Yep. Thank you, Prabhu.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Hare Krishna. So we have 13 devotees with us for our reading of Priya Bhagavatamrita. So we are on beginning now of the actual story itself is now beginning to unfold. And last week we heard about Janmijai, who heard from Jaimini, a Pacific version of the Mahabharata, which was contain in essence the glories of the Lord, actually, an interesting version of the Mahabharata. And he became very eager to hear. And then he heard how hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit had become completely free of all fear. There was no sense of anxiety, fear, or apprehension in Maharaj Parikshit at all, even though his death was coming. Yeah. And that, it was, even though death was on its way. So seeing that, Uttara came, obviously hearing from Sukadeva Goswami, he was completely free of fear. Then Uttara, his mother, came, and she was eager to hear what he had heard. she wanted to hear the essence of what he had heard from Sukadev Goswami. Yeah, and then Maharaj Parikshit, he mentions this is not the time for, this is time for silence. I should be meditation on Krishna, but you've asked such a wonderful question that I cannot, how can I but answer that question? And then Parikshit Maharaj offers prayers then to Sukadev Goswami, and then that brings us now to text 24, where he's presenting the essence of Bhagavatam in the form of the Brihat Bhagavatamrita. All right, so that's where we are. So if anyone would like, let's just see if there's any readers there. Anyone would like to begin reading? There's no
We're in
hands up.
text 26, are we? Or
I might be mistaken. I've got in my records text 24.
okay, I don't know. I've got mine 26, so I'll go back.
Hands have shut up. That's below. Pratikashar, you can
I have
read.
mine on 26 as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Which one do you have? 24.
I think dear
Okay.
mother at the time. Yeah.
24 and text 24 and 25.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's start there. I'm pretty sure we're 24 because we haven't started the story yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
No.
so Pratikashar, maybe you can read text 24, 25.
Okay. Text 24, 25. Once
Yeah.
a group of exalted sages were at Prayag, the best of pilgrimage sites, during the month of Magh. The sages had taken their bath and were happily seated before the deity of Sri Madhava, feeling satisfied as if all their goals in life had been fulfilled. They were praising one another, saying, "You are the recipient of Lord Krishna's mercy." Commentary. These sages at Prayag were humble devotees of Krishna. Each of them disliked hearing himself praised and was thus trying to divert the praise to someone else. Appreciative of one another's good qualities, they could honestly tell one another, "You are the Lord's dearmost devotee." When Vaishnavas are friendly to one another like this, their community prospers. Prayag is called Tirtha Murdhanya, the chief of holy places, because it is located at the confluence of river Ganga and Yamuna. The sages were there at the most auspicious time for bathing, the month of Magh, January, February. As Dattatreya, the incarnation of the personality of Godhead, has explained, the Supreme Lord Madhav is not as pleased by vows, charity, or austere penances as by one's simply taking a bath in the month of Magh. Padma Puran, Uttarakhand, 126.8. Sri Madhav is the presiding deity of the Prayag Tirth. After bathing, the sages were sitting in front of Lord Madhava, feeling extremely fortunate to be together in such a sacred place at such a time.
Okay, a little bit forward. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shakti Bhakti Vedanta Swamti Namale. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vichaline Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Satanini. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. All right, perhaps we can just, if anyone has any reflections on that, there's one sentence which caught my attention.
Srila Prabhupada spent all his householder life in Prayag.
Yeah,
Pharmacy there.
Prayag Pharmacy.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. Yeah, Prabhupada had a business there, Prayag. I'm just scrolling.
He took his initiation in Prayag as well.
Oh, really?
He took his initiation, first and second, both initiations.
Well, so that must be a holy theatre, that spot or that place. Yeah, this sentence here, I think this, you can see me highlighting this. When the Vaishnavas are friendly to one another like this, their community prospers. All right, so good to keep in mind. There's lots of initiatives or there's lots of initiatives in our ISKCON society, because we have different, let's say, communities in different places throughout the world, and they're always eager to hear about community, how it can prosper or how it can grow spiritually. So here's one hint here, not a hint, it's direct instruction. So when Vaishnavas are friendly to one another like this, their community prospers. I'm sure we have experienced this as well, where you try and praise one devotee and they take a humble position and they don't want to hear themselves praised, and then they start praising you. Hopefully we all have experience of that. And it's very sweet and it's very pleasing to Krishna. So this is what's going on here. This is a group of Vaishnavas or sages. Vaishnavas are gathered together and they're before deity and they're glorifying each other. So having a very sweet exchange, which definitely will make the deity of Madhav smile very much. Yeah, the Lord's very pleased when he sees the devotees interacting in such a loving way. So yeah, so we want to do that. We want to cultivate that. It's very good, you know.
Yes, because we have to cultivate it here, because back home in Goloka Vrindavan, that's how they behave with each other. They so happy when others are doing so. From Radharani, it comes from Radharani. How she's so happy when other devotees are doing service for Krishna.
Yeah, and that's symptomatic of their purity. Yeah. Symptomatic of their purity of heart. Someone who's pure in heart, you will naturally appreciate other people. It'll just be part of your nature because you've got a pure heart. So you see the good in others. Yeah. So that comes from our practice of Krishna consciousness.
A kind of question.
Yeah.
Why even when practicing here so much, yet, and there's Krishna's service is there, yet we go into this mood of, oh, I don't want to help her, I don't want to help him, I don't want to do this. Why do we still go into that kind of mood?
Yeah, well, it's called
for Krishna. The point is for Krishna. And I'm going to benefit from that eventually anyway. So
yeah, it's something you might have heard of it. It's called the three modes of material nature.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a reminder to Chandravali.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we tend to be. That's the ideal, that we're always in that pure state of mind and consciousness. But somewhere down along the line, we are prone to be influenced by perhaps the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, or even we could say, if we're transcendental, we might not be influenced by goodness. But yeah, like that, we may experience that. We may be feeling on a downer. We might not feel very positive about ourselves or about anybody else. That means some influence of the mode, the material nature. Yeah. So in essence, you could answer your question like that. So it means to be a conditioned soul. But still, hopefully we should experience, as we progress, we should experience more of the positive side than the negative. That's a good sign of advancement, that we're spending more time. Yeah, we're spending more time in a positive Krishna conscious, having a positive Krishna conscious outlook. But it's a challenge, no doubt.
Because like today, like me and Anupama, somehow the Krishna just piled so much onto both of us today. We were like, we had so many services to do. It just happened like that, So we just have to put Krishna in the center and okay, that's what Krishna wants. Surrender.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a case of we have to actually, it's good to observe our perhaps our wayward or our not very Krishna conscious state of mind, and to make a particular sankalpa or particular determination to actually act differently. Yeah. Sometimes what I do, I think, is what I've learned to do sometimes when things are getting on top of me, sometimes we may have a tendency just to go in our head. You heard that expression, in the head. He or she is in the head. It means you're just wallowing in your own self-pity.
Oh,
That's a strong word. We should speak to devotees, open up to devotees. It may not even mean you're speaking about what's going on with you, but Hari Bol Prabhu, Hari Krishna Mataji, how are you? You know, don't lock yourself in a cupboard with your gloom, you know. But try and make steps to come out of it, you know. Sit down with a devotee to take the shard, you know, like that, you know. Lighten yourself up. There's some things of, maybe different tips on that. Because, because it's not like, because the cure is to be conscious of Krishna. But to be conscious of Krishna is not always immediately available for us, to really think of one's loving relationship with Krishna. So we should have learned to associate nicely with the Vaishnavas, sit down with Vaishnavas, take prasad with Vaishnavas, right?
Also, we tend to make excuses why I can't do this or why can't I go there. I can't because on a bodily platform. I mean, I was just thinking how.
Yeah, well, sometimes those things might be a legitimate consideration. We're not we have our limits, so there's only so much we may be able to physically do. So sometimes we may have to make some type of adjustments, some type of, that's not, that's needed. We have to be intelligent in that regard. It's not as if we can do everything that comes our way. I mean, we wish we could, but we can't. I mean, I know I have to do that now. As perhaps there's devotees who are older than me, but I can't just run into everything that comes my way. I have to pick what I'm gonna do, I have to pick what preaching engagements I get invited to or things like that. And I don't always say yes because I've got something else the next day, and I know what's going to happen if I do this and I do that. So I have to.
I think you got to use your intelligence, isn't it?
Yeah. Does that help, Mother Chandrawala?
Yeah. I was like, yes. So use your intelligence, but not use excuses. Yes. Okay, got that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunil.
That's a good summary of that. Good summary. All right, let's read a couple of texts.
Okay.
So Sahachari Mother, you can read for us text 26 onwards, perhaps till we get to purple.
Matastadanim tatraiva vipravara samagata dasasvamedike tirte bhagavad bhakti tatpara. Dear mother, all the time a first-class Brahmana arrived at that holy site called Asvamedha Tirtha. He was fully absorbed in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Yeah, you want me to continue?
Yeah, just continue until the next purple.
Okay. Sevito Sesha Samapadhis Tat Desyadhikaravan Vrata Paranjanarai Vipra Bhojanantaram Krotamyaha. Richly endowed with all assets, he was the spiritual leader of that region. His retinue surrounded him as he prepared to distribute food to the local Brahmanas. Vichitro Rakta Prastha Vastuni Sa Nispadaya Mahamana Avasyakam Sampada Samapyadav Samkrita Mahitam Silam. Having collected all sorts of valuable items for worship of the Lord, the generous Brahmana then saw the
preliminary is first by purifying a large area on the ground. Satvarvam chatvarvam tatra madhye nirmaya sundaram upalipya swabhastena vitanani udantarayanath. There he swiftly built a handsome altar, which he smeared with mud with his own hand and covered with a canopy. Commentary. The unnamed Brahmana who came to conduct public worship of Lord Krishna at Asvamedha Ghat was the acknowledged spiritual authority of that area. Although rich and influential with ample means for a comfortable life, he was a fully surrendered Vaishnava. Everything he had has used only for Lord Krishna's pleasure. By his heartfelt service, he satisfied the Lord and everyone else. At this same Asvamedha Ghat at Prayaga, Srila Rupa Goswami later received personal instructions from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps just stop there because we pause there. Any questions or comments? Here we have a very well-to-do devotee, a very well-to-do Vaishnava, and he dedicates everything to the Supreme Lord. So it's quite a mystical thing in the sense that if you give everything away and you dedicate it to someone else, that means you're going to have nothing left because you've given everything away, isn't it? You have a bank account and you give it all away to your next door neighbor. Well, you might not do that. Then that leaves you with less. But it's not like that with Krishna. Mystically, the more you dedicate and give to Krishna or spend on Krishna through Sankirtan or whatever it may be, then the more that comes to you, then the more you give. In other words, you won't be left shortchanged if we sacrifice for Krishna. So here is a very well-to-do person. He is the leader of a town, I think, or community, and he's given lots of, he's doing a worship the Lord, and he's probably got servants, and he's got opulence, but he's a fully surrendered Vaishnava. So he's living comfortably, he's living with what he needs, but his life is dedicated towards glorifying Krishna. Yeah. So materialistic people can't really understand this, They're very hesitant to, they may be hesitant for one reason or another. Yeah, most people, although there are charitable people, no doubt. Charity plays a big role, actually. And there are some, charity. A lot of people are very charitable. Anyway, any comments on that so far? Any comments on this? So this person's rich and influential.
Can I say something, Murli Prabhu, regarding what you just now said?
Yeah, I think yeah, go on, carry on.
Sorry, was somebody saying? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Vishali Mataji, did you say something then?
Yeah, Rupa Goswami got the instruction for 10 days. This is when he came back from Vrindavan, the second visit. Is it true?
I don't know. I just take your word for it if you read that recently. Yeah, I don't know actually. I would have to look.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Dashrameda got very famous conversation.
Yeah, that's where Rupa Goswami got for 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Suniti Priya, moment. Yeah. You still there?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, sorry. I think it's by mistake. I pressed the button. Yeah. I think as you were explaining that, that material people don't realize it, that if you want to give something and they sort of think twice. But I think for us in Krishna consciousness, when we do that, we give up everything. And I think we, as a devotee, has a blissful inner us that we feel so wonderful giving whatever we want to for Krishna, dedicate our life for him.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the secret which materialistic people don't know. If we dedicate our time, whatever it may be, our words, our time, our energy, our wealth, whatever it may be, words to Krishna, we will only gain. We will never be the losers. We will gain materially and spiritually.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, materially and spiritually, unless Krishna has a special plan for us. It takes everything away materially.
Just like
That's,
Prabhupada.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, we will gain. There is nothing because that is the way that the world, or that is the, I'm gonna say, that is the science of how to live in this world, is that we make sacrifices for the Supreme Lord, and then all our needs are met. All the needs of mankind is met. Yeah, there is no shortage of grains, there is no starvation, there is no adverse weather conditions, there is no diseases, yeah, there is no wars. You know, if mankind is engaged as a whole in sacrifice to Krishna or to Vishnu, then it'd be like Ram Raj. It would be like when Yudhisthira Raj was ruling the world. Even described it, difficult to conceive of it, how it works, but even in the time of Ram Raj, no one suffered from old age. I think it's described like that.
That's right. Yes, it is.
Pretty inconceivable. So in other words, it becomes like the spiritual world. So that's how kings should run the state, and they should run the governments and state. It should be where directed towards sacrifices for Vishnu. And they say the ultimate sacrifice is Sankirtan Yagna. Yeah, but people are just trying, but because they're not religious, they're not pious, a lot of people are not, they're just trying to grab at the resources like common thieves, you know, trying to grab at resources just to satisfy their senses with actually no appreciation of where anything's coming from. So their thrill from those sense objects that they grab will be very flickering and very temporary, but over and above everything, their life will be one of anxiety and grief. You know, okay, they may grab something to satisfy their senses, you know, regardless of appreciating where it's come from. But that gratification, but overall, the picture of their life will be one of stress, struggle, misery, disappointment. You know, but of course, they try to make out that that's not happening in their life. That's the whole quest of the materialist. Is no, everything's all right. Anyway, we're going on different direction here, but yeah, you know, just appreciating this. This is a great Vaishnava. He has much wealth, but he's using it only for Krishna's pleasure. All right. I think Mother Vishalni, you have your hand. You'd like to read? You can read the next verse. Text 30.
Okay, Haribo. Salagram Silarupam Krishnam Swaranashane Shlubhe Niveshya Bhaktiya Sampujaya Yatha Veena Mudabrita. Next, he placed Lord Krishna's form as the Salikram Shila on the auspicious golden throne and worshipped the Lord with great devotion. Joyfully, he performed the prescribed rituals. Commentary: the Salikram Shila is a sacred stone worshipped by Vaishnava Brahmins as a deity form of Lord Vishnu. The stones are found only in Gandaki River near the village of Shaligram in the Himalayan foothills. So precise is the science of Archana that an expert Brahman can recognize each Salikram Shila as a specific incarnation of Lord Vishnu by unique markings.
Yeah, okay. So we're all familiar with Shaligram Shilas. I don't know if anybody here with us is worshipping Shaligram Shila.
Shambhavati Mataji is
Gambhavati shares Shalagram.
We also have shaligrams.
Shalagram. It's part of Brahminical culture.
Yes.
Nanda Maharaj worshipped Shila. Yeah, they had their household Shila. They worshipped. But what's here is this Brahman here, or this Vaishnav, he's engaging in, obviously he's engaging in worship of the Lord. But what he's doing is all part of the worship procedures. So he's done preliminaries, he's done the preliminaries, which means you prepare the ground where the worship is going to take place. You know, and you do that with mantras, and you purify the place with items from the cow dung, cow urine, etc. They will put, I was reading a book yesterday, actually, a small book by Rupa Goswami, Vaishnav Ritual. And he's describing all the mantras you chant when you set up the Shnan Vedi for the bathing of the Lord. And there's banana trees, you dig holes and put banana trunks there. Then by the banana trunks, then you put auspicious items, sesame seeds, and other auspicious items. Then you make, as you see in Mayapur, perhaps in India, festivals, they make, they decorate the doorways with mango leaves, and it's something. So yeah, you all, I can see some of you nodding. Yeah, you're all familiar with that. So this is what this Brahman's doing here. He's doing that. He's doing. He's worshiping the Lord, and he knows he's expert, and he knows how to worship. And now he's going to be worshiping Shalagram Shila. It doesn't say what Shalagram Shila. But any questions about this? So, yeah, it's good to try and picture the scene. Yeah, I was in Scotland a few months ago, and we were sorting out their thousands of Shalagram Shilas. Me and Gandaki Prabhu, some devotees might know him. We had the service of sorting out 5,000 Shalagram Shilas. And we're trying to find imposter Shalagram Shilas from these Shalagram Shilas. And we found some, and here's an imposter Shalagram Shila. That was amongst Scotland's 8,000 or 12,000 Shalagram Shilas. This is an imposter. It's not Shalagram Shila.
It looks real.
Yeah, it looks real, but it's not. And interesting, Gandaki was telling me that what they do, they're very clever, is, do you know, see, they identify the Shalagram Shila. Oh, yeah, we got Mihai Prabhu. He's a big Shalagram Shila worshipper here. He's got many Shalagram Shilas.
I keep silent. I'm not allowed to talk.
Now I'm telling everyone. He sends me, he's got beautiful water. He's got many Shalagram Shilas. So what they do is they take a black stone, which is not from the Gandaki, or in what they do, they will drill out what looks like Lord Nrsingadeva's mouth. And very expertly, they will carve it so it looks like a Shalagram Shila, you know. And then they will put it there on their market store or whatever. They're not supposed to sell them anyway. And then some kind of gullible, one sense, innocent, gullible Westerner will come and go, wow, that really looks like Lord Nrsingadeva's teeth. Look. Look at that. If you look at that Shalagram Shila, you can see two teeth, pointed teeth here, you know. Oh, how much do you want for that? £300, no problem. There's a gullible Westerner there. So there's a lot of fake, there's a lot of fakery. You have to be careful. If you want to start worshiping Shalagram Shila, first you should get permission from Guru Dev, your superiors, you know, but then you should make sure. And then as we know, once you start Shalagram Shila, that's it. The rest of your life, you are worshiping that Shalagram Shila. Yeah. So think before you buy, or think before you get 500 Shalagram Shilas. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Mihai Prabhu, any Shalagram Shila?
Prabhu, I wanted to ask, I have 9 shalagrams. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my obeisances, Prabhu. Thank you very much for talking the subject. I have 9 shalagrams. And for example, if I go somewhere away, can I leave for Gaia to wash them, bathe them? Because I'm bathing every morning.
Yeah, the worship should continue. Like she's a family, but yeah, as to worship. As far as I know, Mihai, do you know that? Do you have to? It's like if it's okay to get someone else to do the worship on your behalf. It is, isn't it?
I didn't hear everything what the Mataji said.
She's saying if she goes on the holiday and she leaves her Shalagram Shilas at home, can her, I think it's your daughter-in-law?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, can she do the worship on her behalf?
She can, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can be done.
But
Yeah.
usually don't leave your kids at home if they are too small. You take them with you.
Prabhu, we're bathing. We know better how to bathe. Shalagrams when Gaia. We used to, no, when we didn't go to school last year, it was Corona, thanks God. My best time in my life. And so we were at home, we were bathing deities every morning with mantras, with Tilaka, Ugra Narasimha, 4 years old, and Devradika is 6 years old. We're so professional, we're really professional.
Yeah, I mean, if they're well trained and they're well cultured in worship and they do it, they're trained. Obviously, Jambavati's train them to worship with awe and respect, doing it very nicely. But yeah,
we're very eager. We're very eager. We love them. We're even fighting over who is going to wash more. But you know, I said don't disturb shalagrams because we don't like noise and too much fights. So that's it. But we're very good. We love it. And every morning we're singing Govinda Adipurusham, also fighting who is going to sing louder. So,
nice culture. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Right, other questions about this? Sheila. All right. So he's worshiping this. So just try and picture it in your mind's eye. This very affluent Vaishnava. He's calm and he's worship. Now he's going to begin the worship of Shalagram. All right, let's say Jao. You like to read, Mother?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks.
Hare
Text
Krishna.
31, right?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Sorry, Prabhu, I don't have the book, so I'll have to read from the phone.
No problem. I shall move the page.
Thank you.
Do you want to read it English?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Text 31. In front of Lord Hari, he placed food, clothes, and other offerings. He made a one-man festival by dancing, singing, playing music, and so on. Commentary. When worshipping the deity of the Supreme Lord, one should first greet him as an honorable guest, with water for washing his feet, scented water for drinking, and other items prescribed by standard etiquette. One should feed the deity nicely and offer gifts of cloth and other valuables such as perfumes and incense. The lamp offered in the Arati ceremony represents the light one should show at the entrance of one's house for a guest arriving at night. Aratikam.
Yeah, okay, so this is known as Soda Solpachara Puja. I can never pronounce it quite right, but Soda Solpachara Puja. I think Vishali knows about this, or other pujaris. So generally, worship is done, it can be done with more than 16 upachars. Now, upachar is a name for an item, like if you offer incense, that's called the incense upachar. If you offer deepa, that's called the deepa upachar. So items. So like for instance, in our temple, we worship the standard 16 upachars, Gaunitai and Girigovada. See if I can, and they are idam asanam swagatam padyam agam achumanyam esham utapagapunachunam shnanam vashtam alankaraha gandha pushpa dhupa deepa naivedyam namaskuru. So that's one sloka which pujaris will do, manasa, but they will offer all these items. So the first one is asanam, where you offer the Lord a seat. Then you, my Lord, are you comfortable? Swagatam suswagatam. Are you comfortable? Idam asana swagatam. Then what's mentioned here, padyam, foot wash. Then agyam, which means auspicious items, grains, yoga offered to the hand. idam padyam agyam archamaniyam. Then you rinse, then you refresh the Lord's mouth. Then you offer what's known as foodstuffs. It may be madhupak, honey, yogurt, ghee, and the Lord drinks that. Then you offer second achman after the Lord's taken that, purna achman. Then you bathe the Lord, shnanam. Then you may massage the Lord with oils. Then you bathe him with sacred waters, sanctified water. And then after that, shnanam. Then there's vastram, where you decorate the Lord, or shalagram shila, vastram, idam snanam vastram. Then there's alankara, you put jewels on. Then you do the final worship. Then you offer chandan, ganda. Then you offer garlands, ganda, pushpa. Then you offer incense, dhupa. Then you offer a lamp, deepa. Then you offer some foodstuff, neyavejam. Then you say sorry for all the offenses you made. Namaskuru. All the offenses that you might have made. So there's 16 upachars there. And that's what we teach devotees in Mayapur, and that's what we teach as well in our worship. Any questions on that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question. The
Yes.
16 upacharas, is there a list written somewhere? And do we have to do that at home with the deity worship at home? Like I've got
No,
Gaur Nitai at home.
Yeah, you can do 5 upachars.
5,
3
okay.
upachars. Yeah, as many as you can manage. But
Okay.
standard in temples will be 16.
Yeah.
It goes up in a nectar of devotion. Rupa Goswami gives 64.
Wow. Okay.
The 64 will generally be done on the day of the installation of the deity.
Mm.
They will offer 64 upachars. But the Nitya Seva, daily worship, generally might be in a temple 16 upachars.
Mm.
You know, we could get into it a bit, but these upachars, for instance, they can be offered through what's called replacement. Those who attend the Pachari seminars might know what that means. So sometimes you might see yogis or devotees doing this in the Holy Dham. They will have a Shalagram Shila, they will have an Achman cup, and they will take water from the Achman cup and they will offer it and say Etat Padyam and disregard it. Then they would take another spoon of water, Etat Padyam, Idam Padyam Agyam, and another one, and they would go for all the 16 Padyam, Agyam, Artyam, Asham, Buddhapaga. But what it is they just using mantra, but they're offering all 16 upachars. You understand? They might not have all the items there.
So in
They
the
might
mind, you can
yeah,
kind of offer it with the mantra. Okay.
yeah, and then the Lord accepts it as if you're actually offering that item. It's
Okay.
called replacement, or you can just do that with flower petals.
Mm.
Idam padyam, idam agyam, with flower petals. Generally, you'll see devotees who do Purahit devotees do yagna. You know, they may worship, they may invoke Vishvakshena before yagna or Ganapati. Then they will worship, and they will offer 16 upachars, but they will do it through flower petals very quickly.
Okay.
And they might just offer the nivedyam. They put fruit by the gata, and then they will offer. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. So, any other curiosities about that or questions? Otherwise, yeah. So valuable items such as perfumes and incense. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One more thing, Prabhu. It says scented water for drinking. So when we offer like drinking water, it's just plain. Do we have to do something?
No, scented water, meaning like for shnan.
Oh, okay. Because it says here. Oh, yeah.
For bathing the Lord. For instance, for bathing the Lord, some little bajari tips that you can do. Basically, you bathe the Lord. You maybe your shalagram should be this weather. It should be called nice warm water or cooling water. But you can put in that bathing water. You can put rose water. You can put flower petals. You can put camphor. You can put chandan in that water. All makes it
Yeah.
more nice for the Lord. Then you bathe him with that water.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And you can you make that water not ordinary water. You can use that. You can do that through mantra as well by invoking the Ganges and the Yamuna.
Oh, the
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 Ganga
Argya.
Chashma.
Yeah.
Godavari Saraswati. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this Brahmanan, he's doing all of that, and also he's here. He's I like this is a one-man band. He's a one-man festival, a bit like what's his name? Devotee here, Brahmachari. Oh, I'm going to forget his name. Goes out with his drum on his own and bangs away and chants Hare Krishna. Ananta Nitai. Yeah, Ananta Nitai. He's a one-man band. So here's a Brahmana. He's done all this worship. Now he's dancing, he's singing, he's playing music and so on. I guess other people are taking part. I guess they will be. All right, let's read on Sherry about his worship now, what he does next. Okay, then we're gonna have Gaia. Mother, you like to read for us?
Sure. Is it 32?
Yeah, 32, and you can read on to the next purple.
Okay, text 32. Tata Vedna Purana Vyakhya Bhirvada Kovidan Vipran Pranamya Yatino Grahino Brahmacharina. He then offered homage to the Brahmanas present, who were expert in arguing from the Vedas, Puranas, and other texts. He also offered respects to the sannyasis, householders, and brahmacharis.
You can continue.
Okay, that's 33. Vaishnavamscha sada Krishna kirtanananda lampatan subahud madhurair vakir vyavaharai shaharshayan. And he honored the Vaishnavas who were always greedy to enjoy the bliss of glorifying Krishna. Thus, he encouraged the many respectable persons there with attractive words and behavior.
And you can read this one and the purple, then we'll pause there.
Padashocha jalam tesham dharayan shirasi svayam bhagavati arpitais tadvat anadhibhir apujayat. Sorry, I really need glasses. After placing on his head the water that had washed their feet, he worshipped those persons with the food and other items he had presented to the Supreme Lord. Commentary. One class of learned Brahmanas like to display their knowledge by defeating others in argument, but another class of Brahmanas, the pure Vaishnavas, prefer to use their energy to hear and chant about Krishna. Some Vaishnavas are also Brahmanas by birth and external behavior, but pure Vaishnavas of any social status, even those who come from lower castes, are always better situated spiritually than ordinary Brahmanas. Pure Vaishnavas bother to enter debates only when the cause of Krishna consciousness can be advanced. When criticisms of other Vaishnavas or the Supreme Lord have to be answered, or when victims of misconceptions have to be saved. The Brahmana Vaishnava conducting this festival honored the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas with pleasant, encouraging words and with respectful behavior, bowing down to them, washing their feet, offering them arati, and so on.
Okay. Any comments or questions about this? We're not into debate for debate's sake. Devotees have better things to do. Like I like this. Just scroll back a bit. Where was it? You read down there. Where was that verse? Sorry, I'm moving it. I have to. Oh, so perhaps it was in the purple that, yeah. Oh, here it is. And he honored the Vaishnavas who were always greedy to enjoy the bliss of glorifying Krishna. So it's nice, you know. Devotees always greedy fellows, you know. It's like if we think of our respective spiritual masters and senior devotees, they're always very greedy. They're very greedy. Greedy for what? The bliss of glorifying Krishna. Greedy for kirtan, greedy for katha. You know, we should be greedy for that. So these Vaishnavas, they all got, perhaps you could say they've all got a taste to all the stage of ruchi. They love to hear about Krishna. Yeah. And he seems a very, very cultured person. And somehow or another, he's managed to bathe their feet and he's worshipping them. And now he's putting on the water that's bathed their feet on their head, on his head. And he's been very respectful to everyone. Yeah, actually, we just got up to this verse, wasn't it? Verse 34. Yeah. Any questions about this, about debates or arguments? I find this interesting because sometimes I get sidetracked and I watch these debates between atheists and theists, you know, and it can sometimes get quite unpleasant, but sometimes it can be quite nicely done. And I had a bit of a kind of, not a like type of frustration where I would hear these theists coming from all due respect from a Christian perspective, and the science of God is not so, which they have at hand, is not as developed as from the Srimad Bhagavatam and from the Vaishnav scriptures. So sometimes I think, oh, if only there would be a devotee there, could tell them this and tell them that, you know, and tell them this, and they could give wonderful, you know. But actually, as described here, Vaishnavas, that's not their, they would prefer not to, unless, as Gopi Pranadhana mentions here, when there's criticism. So sometimes Bhaktisiddhanta would engage in debate, and he engaged in debate with smarter Brahmanas. Interesting, because right on this point, on smarter Brahmanas, as we spoke before, they did give no credit to the Vaishnavas, but Bhaktisiddhanta engaged in debate and proved scripturally that Vaishnavas are superior to Brahmanas. Brahmana is a material designation, Vaishnava is a spiritual designation. So he's saying here, pure Vaishnavas only enter into debate when the cause of Krishna consciousness can be advanced, when criticisms of other Vaishnavas of the Supreme Lord have to be answered, or when victims of misconceptions have to be saved. So you see that in our Gaudiya history. Who else went into debate? That was Baladev Vijayabhushana. One time the Vaishnavas were challenged because they didn't have a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So they didn't have a commentary, so they was threatened to be banished from any rites in temples. So then Baladev Vijayabhushana was, if I remember correctly, his disciple of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, on behalf of Vishwanath, who was physically unable. He went into debate and wrote a Vaishnava's commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. And Prabhupada dedicates his Bhagavad Gita to that Vedanta, to Baladev Vijayabhushana. Because our commentary naturally is the Srimad Bhagavatam, but they didn't accept that. They wanted a verse for verse refutation of the Vedanta Sutra, verse for verse, not just then they wouldn't accept Srimad Bhagavatam. So then he won that debate. And the king accepted the Vaishnavas as the worshipable priests of the kingdom. I forget the name of the kingdom and the king, but so
in Govindji temple.
Yeah.
where? Say that again.
In Jaipur, in Govindji temple.
Okay, that's where that happened, and that's the place.
Radha Govindji, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So thank you for those
He
details.
wrote Govinda Bhashya.
Yeah, the Govinda Bhashya. I've actually got that book here, the Govinda Bhashya. I've tried to read it. It's very, very hard going. But yeah, it's called the Govinda Bhashya by Baladev Vijayabhushana.
Because
And
they Brahmanas served them otherwise.
Yeah, that was, yeah. So it's 6:56. Let's just see how long this, let's perhaps read one more verse, shall we? Let's see who's out there and read it. Chandravali, you have your hand up. The only one who has your hand up. You can perhaps read this last verse.
Which one are we now on? 36?
35, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Next, he respectfully fed everyone else, including the most fallen outcast. In suitable ways, he satisfied even the dogs, jackals, birds, and insects.
Oh.
Sudras and outcasts are commonly considered fallen, and men who are poor and hungry are usually identified as wretched. But the real criterion of a person's fallen, wretched condition is his lack of devotion to the Supreme Lord. Amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. That's Shikshashtikam 3. One who wants to worship Lord Hari perpetually by Nam Sankirtan must give up demanding respect for himself, must practice showing respect to every living creature. But the respect one shows must be appropriate for each individual. Only a fool would embrace a hungry tiger in the name of brotherly love, and so a devotee endeavoring for pure Krishna consciousness should keep a respectful distance from persons of dubious character
and faith. Okay. All right. So any quick comments or questions on that? Now, this is obviously a great devotee, a great Vaishnava, but then this is just the beginning. You know, he's going to be approached as a great Vaishnava. I think by Narada Muni here, he will come and then he will direct him to someone else.
Yeah.
This is his story. And then he will, then we'll hear his glories. Then we'll hear their glories. Sorry, I heard something there.
No,
okay.
the brother said, yeah, that's what it is. They're praising, and he'll get to the first, most favored by Krishna. That's how he starts off.
Yeah, that's how he starts.
All the praises, and then you get to the main character who he's praising.
Yeah,
that's how the format is of this book.
So this will unfold as we read through. So perhaps we can pause there. Interesting, the last thing, and he satisfied the dogs, jackals, birds, and insects. So there was a feast, there was prasadam, and he made, of course, there's always dogs which are hanging around. So he made sure they got prasadam, even the jackals. He obviously made sure the birds got prasad, and he let prasad also for the insects. Excuse me. Okay, let's pause there then, and next week we'll continue with text 36. Excuse me. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us for this reading, and let's so next week let's gather again together on Monday and begin our hearing and chanting, and we'll visit this again next Thursday, text 36 onwards. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Murli Prabhu. It's great Murli Prabhu.